welcome from wherever you join me today. Yes, it's me again, Jim Black, from the Three Hats Stage Media channel, trying to provide entertaining content media for all those world stages. This is a Pause for Thought edition where I review one of my favourite movies and see what messages we can take from it and how we could use those insights in today's busy lives. The movies I review from over the past several decades, some you may know and some you may not. They're all from a book and screenplay. They've got a great cast and a fantastic soundtrack. As you can see from the light box just to my side, today's movie is no exception. It's 2013 and it's The Great Gatsby. It's adapted from the book by F. Scott Fitzgerald and the screenplay is by Baz Luhrmann and Craig Pearce. There's an all-star cast. You've got Leonardo DiCaprio, one of the biggest movie stars out there, playing Jay Gatsby. You've got Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. He plays Nick Carraway. And then you've got Carey Mulligan, who plays Daisy Buchanan, and she's been in many, many films. The supporting cast is brilliant. You've got Joel Edgerton. He plays Tom, and you'll recognise him from The Secret Life of Us and Dangerous. Elizabeth Debicki, she's Jordan, and you may recognise her from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but she was painted gold, so you may not. Then there's Isla Fisher. She plays Myrtle, a love interest of Tom, and if you know Home and Away, the soap opera from Australia, she played Shannon Reed for many, many years. So I ask, is it right you can repeat the past, and is reserving judgment a matter of infinite hope? Let's get right into this review and find out. Would you ever want to repeat your past? I mean, the good times, why not? But then the bad times, what about them? That's something that you don't really want to repeat. But, you know, in retrospective and looking back, then could you do it better this time? Who knows? The people around you should always reserve their judgment about anything that you want to do, whether it be repeating or reliving or just anything. Because after all, why can't you do it? Why can't you have what you want and make it better this time? Jay Gatsby wants his past back. He's got a love that he wants to rekindle, and he's going to enlist the help of Nick Carraway to try and do it. Nick doesn't know this, so let's get into this movie and see how the story unfolds in the plot. So the story begins in an asylum or an institution where Nick Carraway has ended up because of what's gone on in the past few years. It's a place where he can work out in his mind what it was all about. The doctors and psychiatrists suggest that he writes it all down. That way he can get it out of his head and see it all on paper, and he might have a better understanding at the end of it all. So he begins to write the story, and this is where we go back to the 20s, the roaring 20s, where it was extravagance, madness, money, wealth, power, and all the things you'd expect from that time. He tells it in the first person, so he's narrating the story at different parts of the movie. We find him moving in to a small cottage next to the big Gatsby mansion. Little did he know, and we've heard that somewhere before, that it had all been planned for him to get that little cottage because Jay needs him. Jay's a multi-millionaire, probably a billionaire in today's standards. He throws lavish parties and they are the talk of New York City. Everybody comes. Nick gets invited to the next one, which happens that evening. Nobody else gets invites, people just turn up. It's a place where there's parties going on within parties. There's dancing, singing, there's bands, there's swing. They're swimming in the swimming pools. They're in the sea. There's champagne, there's food, there's everything you could possibly wish for. Jay isn't really a part of it. He's just the man that's created it all. And he's done it for a reason, which we'll find out shortly. So at this party, Jay introduces himself and him and Nick become friends, along with Jordan, who just happens to be an American golf professional that everybody wants to be around. After a few days, the story continues and we find out that Nick is the cousin of Daisy Buchanan. And this is what Jay wants all along. You see, Daisy was once a love interest They had a great time way back when, just before the war, and they were always going to continue it afterwards. Things don't work out, and somehow they lose touch, and she got married to Tom. He only wants to meet her again, and if he can meet her again, he knows he can repeat that past from what he had back then. It's Nick's job to introduce them both and see if that can happen. Nick sorts a meeting out at his little cottage. Jay does it up for him. Flowers, grass, everything he could possibly want, just to make it look nice so that when Daisy turns up, Jay can just drift in and everything will become like normal. Or will it? From that point, we see different parties at different places. We see the lifestyle in New York, in the apartments and the hotels. It's a fast, furious life. I don't think I could keep up with it if it was here today. There's a big problem in Jay's plan. And that is, like I said, Daisy is married to Tom Buchanan. He's from real money because he believes that Jay's money has all been done by underhand deals and that sort of thing. You're born into money after all. Tom's one of them men. He'll get exactly what he wants when he wants it, and he's not prepared to lose Daisy no matter what, even though himself, Tom, has got a love interest in Myrtle, and she's married to the man that runs the garage, which is halfway between New York City and Long Island. As time passes, we see the story develop. There's great scenes at Gatsby Mansion. Then there's also the problems that arise around somebody being in another relationship, even though it's a relationship that they shouldn't be in, if you know what I mean. But if you watch the movie, you'll understand that. What's going to happen in the end? Will Jay and Daisy finally get together? They certainly want to. Nick's done his bit, but he's a bit washed out. He can't cope with it all. He likes Jordan, but Jordan doesn't really like him in that way. As we get towards the end of the movie, the spoiler alert alarm starts to go, and I can't tell you exactly what happens, but it's a great ending. It's a sad ending in some places, and if I say that, you won't exactly know which bit is sad and which bit is happy. But we get to the point where it finishes, and that's when Nick ends up back in the asylum, where he started in the first place. Yes, I think I'm right, yeah. Anyway, what we find is that all stories that end have new beginnings. But this time, new beginnings aren't necessarily the right ones. The past, present and future is what we're all about. We've lived the past, we're now in the present, and we don't know what the future holds. Some of us might be able to predict it, but you can never really predict it because you just never know what's going to happen. You may still be living in the past, which has become your present and will still become your future. It may be the best thing ever. So therefore, you don't actually need to repeat it because you're already doing it. Have a look around you every day. Think of the things you've got and think of the things you haven't got. And do you really want them? The people around you are important and their opinions matter as well as their advice. But always remember, you don't have to take them. Let's hope people reserve judgment on you. Not as a matter of infinite need, but, because they want to and they believe in you. But you should also reserve judgment on them. And if we can live sort of by that, I know we won't be able to all the time, then life may be just that little bit better. There's some great trivia in this movie. If you look in the apartment that Tom keeps for him and Myrtle in the city of New York, you'll see a photograph on the wall. It's Zelda Fitzgerald. It's the wife of F. Scott Fitzgerald. Just a small homage to the great writer himself. Another bit of trivia is there's a scene where Kip Singer falls asleep on the organ. If you look at the organ very carefully, you'll see a pair of tennis shoes on top of it. Although this isn't anything to do with the movie itself, it's again something to do with the book. And Nick is rang by Jay, who asks him, "Have you seen my tennis shoes?" Interesting that, isn't it? And a final bit of trivia, on the gates at the Gatsby Mansion, it says ad finem fidelis, which means faithful to the end. And in this case, J was trying to be for Daisy. Good bit that, isn't it? The music in this movie is out of this world. You've got such a cross of artists. You've got Jay-Z, you've got Kanye West, you've got will.i.am, you've got Lana Del Rey, you've got Brian Ferry, and you've got Cole Porter. It's worth downloading it just to listen to those tracks alone. And there are more, I promise. There's an amazing track called Heart's a Mess, and that's by Gotye. And the words and music and his delivery is just out of this world. I hope you've enjoyed watching this, and if you want to know where my thoughts and inspirations come from, please click on the links in the bio below and they'll take you for a closer look. If you want to subscribe to our channel and join our community, please do so, and hit the notification bell to know when we upload again. Comments are always welcome, and I will do my best to get back to you as and when I can. And I've been Jim Black for the Three Hats Stage Media channel for this edition of Pause for Thought. See you again soon.